Well, here we are at the scene of the crime. Looks to me like it was Alice who did it. No, it really wasn't. It was me. And I really didn't do anything other than use some blood red resin, which is cured. And I've covered this real knife with this resin and made a very festive table setting for Halloween. And I can't wait to show you how to recreate this project at home. Started with our supplies. First of all, we're going to need a 2-part resin kit as well as the mixing cups to prepare the resin. And I have a blood red dye here to dye my resin. Now I'll need the stirring stick right here to mix the resin. And I'm going to be putting everything on top of this wax paper, and everything is being prepared inside this pizza box. When the project is cured, I'm going to use my extra fine oil-based paint pen to write the name of my dinner guests. And then, of course, I have the real knife that I'm actually going to be working with today. You can see I've got my knife inside the pizza box now, and I am getting ready to mix the resin. And I want to draw your attention to something. You should actually make sure that you're covering the blade of your knife so that there's no exposed cutting edge, no serrated part of it, nothing, because the last thing that you want to do is actually cut your dinner guests for real. And you can find lots of different knives at the thrift store, and this was like 25 cents. So this is a great way to use old steak knives, or dull steak knives for that matter. So when we pour our resin, we're actually going to be covering this entire part, and then also creating some fake blood down here too. So I have my resin kit taken apart, and I've got my resin, I've got my hardener, and if you've taken my classes before, my resin classes, you know that I prefer to work with really warm hardener and resin. I think it's better for the process. So I like to actually put these containers into cups of hot tap water for about a minute, and that really gets them going and gets them where they need to be. So I'm going to pour equal amounts of resin in this cup and hardener in this cup, and then I'm going to combine the two and then use my stir stick to actually combine them and start the process. Now I'm also going to be using a dye, which I'll show you in the next section. So I have my resin prepared and dyed, and I'm going to move it over here a little closer to the knife. Remember, I really want you to cover the edges of your knife so that there's nothing exposed. If you remember the example, I covered the tip as well as the serrated portions of the knife. So I'm going to take out my resin, and I'll run the stick over that, and then I'm going to start right over here. And I just let the resin go wherever it's going to, because I think it looks more authentic that way. And the resin very well might run down underneath the knife, and that's okay. The key is to make sure that your project looks as authentic as it possibly can. So I'm going to stop right there so that I can give you some more tips. One of the things that I think it's important for you to do is to actually work on a level surface so that all of the fake blood doesn't pool in one area, and you can see it starting to run away from me. So I'm going to reposition the knife a little bit. Now this is going to actually be closed up when I've covered the entire area with my resin. I'm going to close it up with my pizza box, and I'm going to store it for about a day or two so that it actually can cure. So here's my finished project. It's the one that we saw at the very beginning of the video, and you can see that I poured resin kind of all over the place and made sure to cover the serrated edges. At the very end of the process, after everything was cured and I pulled it out of the pizza box. I actually tried to write my guest's name in a monstrous sort of way. I used that oil-based paint pen from earlier, and you can see extra fine will give you the detail that you want. Now, here's a quick tip when you are finishing this project. There are times where it does not want to peel back from the waxed paper, and something that you can do is to put the project inside the freezer after it has fully cured, and you should be able to actually quickly and easily peel it back from the waxed paper. So I hope you enjoyed making this ghoulish place setting, and I can't wait to see what you do with this project.